Off the west coast of North America lies Channel Islands National Park. We began our trip by exploring Santa Rosa Island. Two of us crossed from Santa Rosa to neighboring Santa Cruz Island. On or near Santa Cruz, we saw the famed Painted Cave, second largest in the world. Hundreds of dolphins, humpback and blue whales, swordfish. Dr. Ballard's ship, the Nautilus, engaged in deep-sea mapping, and kayaked the numerous sea caves in and around Scorpion Bay. When we first started planning the crossing between Santa Rosa Island and Santa Cruz Island, we never imagined it would be the current that would be our main problem in getting around between the two. We always thought it would be the rough seas, the potato patch that had been described to us before, that's actually created by the current, wind coming from the northwest, and also a swell coming from between the two islands. On the advice of a local expert, we knew to kayak to Carrington Point first before we attempted the crossing, and this made the difference. We stayed in Santa Barbara Channel. As we cut across and aimed off, we were able to stay off the point and not get swept between the two islands. However, about halfway to two-thirds the way across in heavier waves, my son, who had forgotten to wear his Farmer John, began to become hypothermic as the spray skirt was leaking and he was sitting in cold water. As we got to the point, the wind suddenly kicked up out of the northwest and we ended up in whitecaps, which by themselves were no problem, but this made the hypothermia worse. After a few minutes in high winds, Connor began to get severely hypothermic. I towed him around the point because of the heavy current. By the time we got to this nice cove, we were going to pull him out of the water. We ran across the Conception.
Rough trip. We just came from Santa Rosa Island, and I've got a young man back here, a little bit hypothermic and pretty. Hey guys, sorry to bother you.
The crew of the Conception were incredible. After pulling Connor from the boat, we threw him in a hot shower. They also fed us lunch and dropped us off at a neighboring cove where we were able to pick up island packers as planned in the event of such a problem. Connor was just too exhausted to continue, and there was no time to get to our intended destination.
Wind picked up a little faster than we anticipated.
Well, yeah, the weatherman,
From the Conception, we were able to effectively communicate with the Island Packers boat scheduled to take the rest of the group to Prisoner's Cove. However, given the wind had kicked up and the uncertainty of the skill level of the rest of the group, we decided to fast forward our trip to Scorpion Bay and paddle back along the island to experience the sea caves just to be safe.
It's been an amazing morning. We're very, very fortunate. Connor here got hypothermic. His boat was filling with water. His spray skirt was leaking a little bit. He was sitting in cold water, did not have his Farmer John wetsuit on. There was no place to pull over to get it. So I had to pump his boat out a few times and tow him around a really vicious point where the currents were really hard to get around. We got around the point and over to Painted Cave, and the waves just kept, and the wind kept building. This wasn't predicted, but sometimes things just happen out here, as we've discovered. We're very fortunate to find the Conception, a dive boat, holed up in one of these little coves over here, and they were nice enough to give us a ride to this cove where we could wait for our transfer boat from the Island Packers. So we figured that if for some reason we couldn't make it, Island Packers could help us, and they could. So they'll be here in a little while. They're going to pick us up. We're preparing our boats to egress into their boat and have our boats pulled up, and we'll move on to prison. Moral of this story is,
Warrior Farmer John.
Warrior Farmer John. You got to stay warm.
And train a lot more.
Train a lot more. That's right. Very fortunate that I'm as strong as I am, or you'd have been in trouble. We'd have both been in trouble.
It would have been a really bad day.
It would have been a really bad day.
Really.
Anyway, still big adventure, and we'll hope to continue a little later. You're not on the boat yet?
Hey, those are great looking boats you got there.
Following us.
Well, you guys gonna stay overnight or?
No, we just thought we'd hang around.
No, we're on the fort. We're on the. You're here tonight, though.
No, he's leaving.
No, I'm going.
You're leaving too.
Yeah. Guys, have a good evening. It's great talking with you.